It's very hard for me to answer because I grew up on Soviet films.
What? You kidding me?
So did you know that Tarkovsky is Ukrainian?
But we know them here, we know them as Russian.
I actually want to claim each single Ukrainian composer, Ukrainian director, Ukrainian producer back to us.
Nothing can stop you.
Hello. Today we would like to welcome you to the new episode of our podcast, You
And I, Ukrainian New Identity.
In this podcast,
we will help you and us
to reinvent Ukrainian history, culture and tradition,
and to see the history through the eyes of ordinary Ukrainian.
We will also highlight similarities and differences between British and Ukrainian culture. My name is Zhenya and I have been living in the UK for more than 20 years.
And my name is Mariia and I'm a refugee from Sumy. And today we have a special guest.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Alexander. I was born in Ukraine in 91. I migrated to UK in 98. I was 7 years old when my parents took me here. So I've been living here for over 28 years.
Wow.
But London. I'm London based, North London.
So basically you're British.
Yeah, I'm British, yeah.
Hybrid.
Yes, hybrid. I would say British-Ukrainian now.
Nice. It's like a British, but with Ukrainian spirit. But do you know why I'm wearing just a Greek fantasy outfit today?
Yeah. Is it a special day today?
Yeah.
Is it your birthday?
No. I'm waiting, really waiting, because I'm massive fan of one of the nowadays director.
Mm-hmm.
And he have a premiere, and it's Odyssey.
Oh,
yeah. Wow. I really love.
Going to watch it in the cinema today?
Of course. Like, this is
Nothing can stop you.
No. I'm a massive fan. Did you know about Ukrainian version of it?
No.
Well, if you talk about Aeneid був парубок моторний, хлопець хоч куди козак.
Yeah, I think this is really cool thing to link, just because, I think nobody knows about it here. Like, we have our own Odyssey, which is based on the original, but about Cossacks, and it's such a fun thing. Shall we listen about it?
Everyone's talking about Christopher Nolan's new adaptation of Homer's Odyssey. But there's another ancient epic that was brilliantly reimagined more than 200 years ago, Virgil's Aeneid. These are two connected epics, but they tell two very different stories. Homer's Odyssey follows the Greek hero Odysseus as he tries to return home after the Trojan War. Virgil's Aeneid follows the defeated Trojans. Their city has fallen. Their home is gone, and instead of returning home, they must build a new one. Virgil wrote a tragedy. Then, more than 1700 years later, it became fashionable across Europe to turn Virgil's Aeneid into a comedy. A 25-year-old Ukrainian writer named Ivan Kotliarevsky joined the trend. More than 20 years later, he became the artistic director of the Poltava Free Theatre. If cinema had existed, he might have become a filmmaker. Instead, he brought his stories to the stage. Yet the historical backdrop was anything but funny. Just 20 years before Kotliarevsky began writing, Catherine the Great had destroyed the Zaporizhian siege, ending the Cossacks' political center and scattering many of them across the Russian Empire. What began as a fashionable parody gradually became the work of Kotliarevsky's life. He kept rewriting it for almost 30 years. His Trojans became Ukrainian Cossacks. Aeneas became their leader. The Olympian gods became landowners, officials, and members of the local elite. Ancient Troy became a mirror of 18th century Ukraine. What started as a comedy became something much greater, a portrait of Ukrainian life, language, and humor, told through one of the greatest stories ever written. And perhaps that's why it still feels so relevant today. Because for millions of Ukrainians, these two ancient heroes represent two deeply familiar experiences. Odysseus, trying to return home after war. Aeneas, trying to build a new home after losing the old one.
So, about cinema. what is your favorite movie? Have you watched any Ukrainian movie which you like?
My favorite movie, I would say for British, I would say I like Deception. Or no, not the Deception. Inception by Leonardo DiCaprio. I also like the movie Titanic.
All right. So you like Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, I like Leonardo. The reason why I like Titanic is because I was still in Ukraine, and my dad sent over a VHS to Ukraine. And I was 6 years old when I watched Titanic, and I also watched a movie called Anaconda as well. In Ukraine. You know, I actually believe snakes like that existed when I was young. Anyways, but Ukrainian movie, I don't know. Is it Kozake? Is that Ukrainian?
Cossacks. You mean a cartoon?
Yeah, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Was it made by Ukrainians?
Yeah, it was.
That was my favorite when I was a kid.
Yeah, I loved it, absolutely. And it actually was a series of Ukrainian animated comedy shorts created at Kiev Nauk Film. And they were called Cossacks, obviously, or Cossacks.
Yeah, and actually the maker of the recently died. Yeah.
And also they make a new version of it.
I never like new versions. I always
Have you
feel
watched it?
No, I have not,
It's not
but I
bad.
have prejudice against them because the old one is sort of like close to your heart.
Yeah.
And you know those characters and you don't want them changed.
What about movie?
Ukrainian movie.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to answer because I grew up on Soviet films.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for me to say Ukrainian. Even I'm gonna say like this as well. I started listening to Ukrainian music officially from what's her name? Blakala.
Yes.
Чому так плакала вона? Пономаренко?
Yeah, I think that was year 2012 or so forth. The only time I used to listen to Ukrainian music before that is when my parents would invite Ukrainians over, and they would
Have a few drinks and start
yes,
singing.
and they would sing very sad music.
Yeah.
You know, when someone's Christian and something, you know, they celebrate. And I don't know why in the Ukrainian culture is that every time when you celebrate something, you always have to get a guitar or something, and you just have to cry about it, you know?
No, you just... I can answer to your question.
Okay,
so,
go
basically,
on. I'm
so
curious.
I honestly believe that as a Ukrainian nation and spirit, we have this something called like when normal person have some traumatic situation, they will like transfer the feelings through some arts, or if it's not art person, they will just write it down to the diary. Yeah. But in Ukrainian culture, it links to the songs, all the songs which we have from the past. It's like народное творчество.
Folklore.
Yes, exactly. So it's based on
folk
stories which everybody understands. So through the songs, people just, kind of reheal themselves. This is a big thing. And actually, why I'm start talking about Odyssey and movies, Ukrainian movies, because I actually want to claim each single Ukrainian composer, Ukrainian director, Ukrainian producer back to us. I don't want to say USSR director. So, for example, I make a series of videos about beginning of the filmmakers' careers, the huge stars of the cinema of 20th century. Dovzhenko, yes, and the first documentary director. I actually have a series of videos about it, and shall we watch it?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen what streets of Kiev look like 100 years ago? What if I told you that there is a future film from nearly a century ago that lets you walk the streets of Kiev, Odessa or even Kharkiv like a time traveler? And no, there is nothing like it from that time in London or Manchester, except perhaps a little-known German experiment. No actors, no script, just real people, real life, and one revolutionary idea. This is the story of Dziga Vertov, the Ukrainian filmmaker who changed the entire world of cinema forever. Dziga means spinning top, the toy in Ukrainian, and the Vertov is a neologism from the word spin. His pseudonym can be translated from Ukrainian literally as the one who spin the top. And it's quite funny, consider that today video is the main source of information. Then it looked like he really spin the top. This is Maria from the editing room, and I just found out that in all Ukrainian slang, the film spool was called the Dziga. So most likely that was the original idea for the name. Dziga Vertov born David Kaufman in 1896. He believed that cinema shouldn't imitate theatre, literature, or even traditional storytelling. Instead, he saw the cinema as a new kind of eye, an eye that could reveal hidden truth. A kino eye, he called it. To Dziga Vertov, cinema was the language still being invented. He was determined to write his first true grammar. He was one of the first who used a hidden camera, so filming people in 1929, he made his masterpiece, Man with a Movie Camera. He filmed the city waking up, people getting married, getting divorced, children born, and people dying. Camera just moved through a day in the life of Ukrainian cities. It's a city symphony built entire from reality. And it's not just what's in the film, it's how it's made. Dziga Vertov breaks every rule. He even shows editing room, even the projector itself. He doesn't hide the machinery of the film, he celebrates it. And there is one of my favorite moments. The thing is, I studied at the film school named after Karpenko in Kiev, and I had to edit real film on the exact same editing table. Location of our university is the territory of the Kiev documentary film studio. And perhaps, just perhaps, I work at the same editing table as Elizabeth Svilova, the editor of The Man with a Movie Camera, and at the same time she was the wife of Dziga Vertov. Despite the fact that this film is silent, he cuts and splits his footage like a music. Using jump cuts, split scenes, you literally feel the melody of the film like a music clip today. But what makes this film truly unique is that this is a historical portal, definitely. There is simply no other full-length film like this, showing the real daily life of Ukrainian in 1920s. No Britain, no in France, no in America. Just maybe German director Walter Rothman makes something similar. It's me again. I searched and I found that around the same time the City Symphony films were made in Paris, New York and Berlin. But those films were either short or thematic, unlike Man with a Movie Camera. Vertov vision, it was democratic, raw, and I would say it's scientific art. Through his lens, we didn't just watch the history, we experienced it. And here where it gets personal. Today we carry our camera in our pockets. We film everything, our streets, our routine, our families, our cities. But what if, like a Vertov, we captured more than we think? What if our phone's video become tomorrow's window into the past? No one knows for sure, but perhaps your phone video will be portal into past for our descendants. So shoot and post it thoughtfully. I want to explain why aren't any, at least not the kind you actually want to watch. So what went so wrong? The answer lays way back in 1930s. That's really all you need to know to understand why today there is almost nothing left for us to see. The Soviet Union was always a totalitarian machine. It only had one true fate: communism as the only one way to live. And if any art didn't glorify the regime, well, what's the point of it? Film, as you know, is a really expensive thing. And back then, if you needed money for a movie, it had better be propaganda, or you won't have any money for your film. Let me show you what it means with the story of legendary Ukrainian director Alexander Dovzhenko. Kiev Film Studio, it's still named after Dovzhenko. I worked there myself, and every time I was blown away by one bizarre thing: the apple orchard. A massive orchard full of real apple trees, right in the middle of the studio. Every year they produce tons of fruit. Can you imagine something in Hollywood like that? Of course not. Studios are mostly sets and sound stages. They don't waste precious land on the actual trees. If they needed trees, they build fake ones. So what was the point? It's all because of Dovzhenko's film Earth. The first time when I saw it in film school, I honestly thought it was a joke.
pure, flat propaganda, worshipping Soviet Union. The scene was stuck with me the most. There is the tractor that breaks down in the middle of the village road. The villager boss says, a Soviet tractor can't break down. The local boys scratch their heads and they pee in the radiator and the tractor fixed. I mean, really? I remember thinking, the studio should be renamed immediately. And here's a twist. When I rewatched Earth years later, I finally got it. For example, in 1958, at the World's Fair in Brussels, a group of 117 film historians called Earth one of the 12 greatest films ever made. And in 2015 it was chosen again for UNESCO Anniversary Festival. And the British Film Institute said the story doesn't even matter. It's about those powerful images, endless fields, ripe fruits, weathered human faces. And did you know, before shooting any of his masterpieces, the genius Andrei Tarkovsky would always rewatch Earth? Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And the deeper you look, the more you find. There are those stunning metaphors, the beauty of the land, the joy of the villagers, a peaceful world that was about to be replaced. Right at the start, an old man died peacefully in apple orchard, smiling like someone who lived good life. But right behind him, those tractor, cold, machinery, soulless. You can feel this shift in the editing, in the faces of the people suddenly look different. Those apples in the orchard become a symbol, a whole new word captured in cinema. That image spread through the film history and shaped visual language we still use today. The idea showing emotions through the pure image became the heartbeat of Ukrainian cinema. It gave birth to what now called Ukrainian poetic cinema. This director, he just, it was during the period of time when USSR gave this idea of Ukrainization. So all people who wants to, describe Ukrainian culture to, bloom as far as they can, they did, and then they shut down them. So that was the period of time when the, full-scale
development of culture, sort of cinematography started.
And you definitely need to watch few movies. They are still reliable. You can watch it and enjoy it. It was like 80, 90 years ago, but it's still interesting to watch. And sometimes you can find something which is like, for me, was like blow mind. Like, for example, Dovzhenko, he created this type of video where animals kind of describes emotions of the scene. So I love to watch some, short videos where the kitty cats have some kind of, memes video, or some animals like Steven. I thought you were dead. Yeah, all this type of things. It actually starts from Ukraine. Imagine, because nobody did it before. Before Dovzhenko created this idea that animals can give these emotions to the shot.
You're using the word Dovzhenko. I've never heard of him. I studied acting here in college, and you know who I came? They taught us. What's his name? Konstantin
Stanislavski.
They were teaching us.
Yeah, but that's about acting. That's
yeah, but
not
why?
So much...
Why would they teach us Russian stuff here in the UK?
Because it wasn't important just for Russia. That was a mild. It was when people started really living what they're acting. But that's more for acting. It's not so much for directing or cinematography.
I would say that the answer to your question is just because Russia put hard on their marketing. They just took the idea of the empire and the high culture, which actually just expropriation from the different cultures, and they just spread it with the money, with the power to other nations. It was a common thing for the period of time.
Because you said about claiming back, key and roots to Ukraine. There's lots of composers, Ukrainians.
Yeah.
But we know them here. We know them as Russian.
Each single person have two parents. Yeah. It's not one parent could be one nation, another one could be another nation. So you rather can choose, like when you claim yourself as a Ukrainian or as a Russian during your life, then it will be written on your biography. But if you not put yourself in any frame,
How can you put yourself
Descendants.
in frame going centuries back? Now we can post on Facebook or somewhere else and say, I'm Ukrainian, I'm doing this and
maybe
that. In the past,
letters, or maybe somewhere.
Yeah, letters. Those letters can be hidden, can be destroyed, and you can take a letter and use a phrase out of context, and it will have the opposite meaning. So it's very difficult.
Yeah, so my opinion is that, like I said before, two things. First of all, is blood. I think this is something what you can change, even if you don't know your relatives. You feel like, I'm a bit, I don't know, for
Ukrainian.
example, something. Yeah. And
Yeah,
you
but
can
for that you need
found
to
it.
do DNA test, and there wasn't DNA testing in that time. So now you can do DNA test and say, oh, actually I'm Chinese, like 1%. So I think I'll call myself a Chinese woman from today, right? But that's a bit silly, isn't it?
It's not. I think because my point is, if you have two parents and they can be different nations, you can have both. You don't need to choose one. Like you are British-Ukrainian. That's absolutely
He's a Londoner.
Londoner.
No, but born in Ukraine, but lived here.
And the parents are Ukrainian.
Yeah, both my parents
are
are Ukrainian. But I see that 7 years I've lived in Ukraine. All my teenagehood, my adulthood, I've lived here. I've lived more life here in the UK than I've lived in Ukraine. I know more about London, UK, than I know about Ukraine.
And I love his pronunciation, by the way.
And even when I speak Ukraine, I've got an accent. When I speak to people here, people don't tell me where you're from. People know, so you're somewhere around London or you're from. You can tell by people's accents as well.
Yeah.
But regarding what you're talking about, one blood and this and that, and two parents, I think it's up to the person to decide.
Yeah, but also what I'm trying to highlight is this feeling that you have to belong to one nation is wrong. This is the point.
I
You don't
think the
have to
idea
choose
of
one.
nation
You can
is
if
wrong.
you want. You can if you want, but you don't have to choose. You have to, accept all parts of you. Like not only good side of you. Otherwise, you will be just 2D person. So in this kind of situation, this kind of frame, I come back to the thing. Like I want to come back to which Ukrainians mean and claim our culture back. So did you know that Tarkovsky is Ukrainian?
What? You kidding me?
When people think of Andrei Tarkovsky, they usually think of Russia. But his story is deeply connected to Ukraine. His first feature film, Ivan's Childhood, was shot on the banks of the Dnipro River near Kharkiv, close to the grave of Ukraine's national poet, Taras Shevchenko. The film explores what war does to a child's mind, something Tarkovsky understood personally after his own father left to fight in the Second World War. Although he graduated from Moscow's famous film school, Tarkovsky completed his directing placement at the Odessa Film Studio. When he took over Ivan's Childhood, half the film had already been shot by another director, who was dismissed. Tarkovsky rewrote the screenplay, replaced much of the cast and crew, and personally oversaw everything from the music to the costumes and camera work. The film went on to win the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival in 1962. Ukraine was also part of Tarkovsky's family history. His father grew up in what is now Ukraine, spoke and wrote Ukrainian, and his family had close ties to the founders of modern Ukrainian theatre. One actor became especially important to Tarkovsky, Mykola Hrinko, a Ukrainian actor best known across the Soviet Union as Papa Carlo in The Adventures of Buratino. Hrinko appeared in 5 of Tarkovsky's 7 films and was often called the director's lucky charm. When Tarkovsky discovered Hrinko was on holiday in Kharkiv during the filming of Ivan's Childhood, he sent an assistant to fetch him, with strict instructions not to return without him. But perhaps his strongest artistic connection was with another Ukrainian filmmaker, Alexander Dovzhenko. Before beginning every new film, Tarkovsky watched Dovzhenko's Earth. His sister later recalled that he called it like medicine before a meal. Tarkovsky himself wrote that Dovzhenko, together with Gogol and Shevchenko, had taught him to love Ukraine and its people. Sometimes, to understand a filmmaker's identity, you don't just look at where they worked, you look at who inspired them.
Father of genius director Andrei Tarkovsky were Ukrainian person. He writes poems, and Tarkovsky, director Andrei Tarkovsky, really loved the poem, and I love it too. And he quoted in his films. And I feel these poems, it's written in Russian, but the spirit. So I will try to explain what I'm putting on the shelves. So I feel like Ukrainian culture and Ukrainian kind of vision of the world in a point of art is different compared to Russian art. For example, Tarkovsky movies, they all about kind of life and imagination and experience and viewing from inside out. Not about small person who was stuck in a situation and he need to make some decision to survive. Not about small person. You see the difference? The thing is, I try to explain that the art point of view of Russian movies, if you will watch today's movies or from USSR movies, it's all about like a small personality which have to survive through difficult situation or funny situation, but it's all about real life in a moment. It's not about imagination, fairy tales, everything what you can imagine from USSR movies, which gives this flavor of fairy tales. It belongs to mother or father of Ukrainian, who gives this kind of, feeling. And my point of view is that actually I think it comes way back through the history that Ukrainian, like Ukrainian songs, they have to put the pain out through the art, through the songs, through the mythology, through the our fairy tales, and this create this kind of the vision of the world where you're not small person and you have to choose kill this or to kill this or steal here some more money or feel like I have to belong to this territory, I can't do anything,
Are you trying to say that there are no Russian fairy tales or there are only Ukrainian fairy tales? So what is connection to fairy tales that I'm sort of...
It's about feeling life and expressing it in a way of imagination way. So if you will tell me some USSR or Russian Ruski directors of movies, and Mikhalkov, look at this story. Where is the fairy tale there?
No, there is no fairy tale, but there is lots of history, and also
it's okay.
I'm not pro Mikhalkov because I don't support his political position, and he's very pro-Putin and all that. I'm against it, but there are some movies which he created in early times of his career. Let's take, Burnt by the Sun, which is talking about not a small person, about actual history and the Red Terror and, Stalinism and all that, which was tragic for the person in the movie as well as it was for Ukrainians, for many other nationalities. If you take his movie 12, he based it on 12 Angry Men. Do you know it? That, guys, if you haven't watched it, American old black and white, the best movie ever.
What's it called?
12 Angry Men.
So
you know what I'm talking about.
This is exactly what I'm explaining to you. Mikhalkov, you told about drama, about pain, about real life, and if you will claim, I don't know, Balabanov, Brat, and stuff like that, or even Yelena or Leviathan. Or, I don't know, the most popular during the beginning of the new Russian Federation is Brigada. It's all about real life, real crime, small people who have to survive through things in real time. You see what I mean? And the actual, even, Kira Muratova, it's also Ukrainian because she's from Odessa. Everything which comes with imagination, which comes through, obraz, it gives this flavor. And when I start digging, I found out actually mother or father of this creativity person were Ukrainian.
Yeah, but I don't really understand what you're trying to prove here.
I just want.
It's not about quality. It's not about I like this more than this. I'm trying to explain that the pattern of the art is different. Like a soul, like we are not brothers, we are different.
But brothers and sisters can be different, can be very different.
I'm talking about viewing of the world. Now, because of the war, we start to realize, actually, we have such a big difference in each single thing, in our expressions, in our feeling of ourselves, and the art is one of the things which I try to highlight.
Go on.
But so you're saying differences. So what? So you're saying differences. Why did it take you over 34, 36 years for you to see the difference? Ukraine became independent in 91.
Yeah, just because my personal story, like I previously explained in different podcasts, my family name before marriage,
maiden name
is Filipenko, which sounds Ukrainian, but they are from Kamchatka. Why it happens? So I started Google it, I tried to find information about it, and all archives were open, and I found out that actually in the beginning of 20th century, people were sent there to have a piece of land and work there. So they're Ukrainian, and none of them didn't even know about it, just because they have to be quiet. Their parents have to be quiet, so their kids raised as a Russian.
So you did the research after the war or before the war?
After the war.
So what about before the war? Why didn't you do the research before the war?
This is the good question, because I didn't have a chance to actually dig and found this information, and at the end I found out that even my grandmother, she's a Donskaya Kazachka. So Don, there is like Donskaya Balachka, we can show it.
В детство ходил я второй класс в школу, учитель спрашивал национальность. Я говорю, козак, а він, нема такої нації, русский. Прийшов додому, плачу. Папа, чо, синок? Який я русский, я ж козак. А що таке? Учитель так сказав. Ну, значить будемо русські, а то виселять нас на соловки.
It's actually Ukrainian language in the middle of the Russia, still, even now.
Well, can I suggest a very simple explanation why literature and ultimately cinematography can be so different, and the way of perceiving the world, not going into the depth of history, but as I like applying some simple psychology. Okay, so we are talking about Russians being suppressors, and we are being suppressed nationality, more or less. Okay, and if you are suppressed, you can't express yourself. As you just said, you had to keep quiet, so no one points at you, you're not second class human, and so on. So what choice do you have? You create, you make up things. And you make up things and you talk about the same, but you hide it in the imaginary forms.
You see, yeah.
And that is simple psychology, and it happens in other countries, I'm sure, who have been suppressed for a long time. So it's just the way out, because you can't bottle in whatever is happening inside of you, whatever is bothering for the rest of your life. So you find the way in mythology. You create, this folklore, the fairy tales. Goodness me, they're full with blood and killings and poisonings, because that's what you needed to show that.
These 10 films span almost a century, and each reveals a different chapter of Ukraine's story. Number 1. Man with a Movie Camera, 1929, directed by Dziga Vertov and filmed in Kiev, Odessa and Kharkiv. It reinvented the language of cinema and still inspires filmmakers today. Number 2. Earth, 1930, by Ukrainian director Alexander Dovzhenko. A breathtaking, poetic masterpiece that transformed ordinary wheat fields and village life into pure visual art. Number 3. Ivan's Childhood, 1962. Filmed on the banks of the Dnipro, near Kharkiv, Ivan's childhood won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival, instantly introducing Andrei Tarkovsky to the world. It also earned him the Golden Gate Award for Best Director in San Francisco. One film was enough to launch the career of one of cinema's greatest auteurs. Number 4. Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors, 1965. Directed by Armenian-born Sergei Parajanov, who fell in love with Ukraine and created perhaps the most beautiful film ever made about Ukrainian traditions, music, and Hutsal culture. Number 5. The Lost Letter, 1972, directed by Boris Ivchenko. A joyful, surreal journey into the world of Cossack legends, humor, and Ukrainian folklore. Number 6. Flights in Dreams and in Reality, 1982, by Ukrainian director Roman Balayan. Quiet, subtle, and deeply human, it's considered one of the finest psychological dramas of the Soviet era. Number 7. 3 Stories, 1997.
Мне не нравятся люди. Этой планете я поставила бы 0.
Or, honestly, almost any film by Kira Muratova. Her films feel like one continuous conversation about people, loneliness, and the absurdity of everyday life. Number 8. Orange Love, 2006, directed by Alan Badoyev. A stylish love story set in Kiev that captured the energy of a new, independent Ukraine. Number 9. Slovo House Unfinished Novel, 2024, directed by Taras Tomenko. This isn't a film that tries to impress you with spectacle. Its greatest achievement is that it exists at all. It took more than 10 years to make, from the first research to its release. With a budget of just $1.4 million, an amount that wouldn't even finance a typical Hollywood independent feature, it tells the true story of Ukraine's executed generation of writers. Watch it, not because it's perfect, but because the story is real, and because the world should know it. Number 10, and finally, You Are the Universe by Pavlo Ostrikov. Modern Ukrainian cinema at its best. Funny, emotional, visually stunning, and proof that Ukraine isn't just proud of its cinematic past, it's creating remarkable films today. Here's my advice. Give each film 25 minutes. If one isn't for you, move on to the next. They're all completely different. Every film in this list is available with English subtitles, and I've linked them all in the description. I hope that by the end of this journey, Ukraine will feel a little closer than it did before.
I think that's really a good point. So,
to finish the program, I completely agree with you.
Thank you so much for watching our podcast. If you like it, please like, share, comment, and see you at the next video.
Bye!